Yes, indeed, you filthy animals. Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm Jason Enrique, and today we have another very special guest in the house. Man, I'm in the holiday spirit as of right now, and I think it's because of this gentleman sitting next to my right, and also from the food that is right under my nose. It's definitely putting me in the spirit right now. But, you know, we're wearing the ugly shirts.
That's right.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to my guest right here, the one and only Billy Jack. What's going on, brother?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
Yeah, I know that we've been trying to have this go on for quite some time, and we're finally here. But you know what? All good things happen to those that wait, and
That's correct.
This has been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
Just having me here is a blessing. Thank you.
I appreciate that, man. The feeling is mutual. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, before we continue, I want to remind everybody that we are live in Bravey Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to Steve Behind the Glass. Shout out to Marv, and happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays.
Yep. All right. So let's start off in the beginning. So, where does the story of Billy Jack begin? Like, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, on Fort Hamilton Army Base. My dad was in the service, and basically that's how he provided us, the living that we are today. And thank God for him.
Right, and also, ironically, that was he was a chef himself.
Your
grandfather. I'm sorry, your grandfather.
My grandfather was a chef in Puerto Rico. He actually retired in the mid-90s, and when he came to the States, he actually visited us a couple of times, and he taught me everything I know.
Right, and at his time at the Condado restaurant in Vanderbilt, in Puerto Rico.
Yes, that's where he worked for about 25 years, and he retired.
Nice. And so growing up as an Army brat, essentially, in Fort Hamilton, Brooklyn, so what was your personal experience as a Brooklyn boy? What was your personal experience like that growing up in that area?
I mean, growing in an Army base is so different because everything is there for you.
Mm-hmm.
We had the commissary, which was basically a shopping mall.
Yeah.
We had the Class 6, which where you get your liquor and you get other items. We had a great football field, baseball field.
Oh, wow.
We even had a movie theater.
Wow.
And then we had
where did I go wrong in life? Where did I go wrong?
We had
neither of my parents could be all they can be. Anyway, I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blessing to be on there, and it kept me out of trouble because Dad wasn't having it. He was like, "No, we don't tolerate that," But he never really forced me into the service.
Right.
And I actually wanted to join the service when I turned 19, but it was supposed to be for like Coast Guard cook specialist for the boats.
Okay, yeah.
But that never happened due to injuries that I had when I was a child. So I couldn't really, pursue that. But
and it's to my understanding that it was your grandfather, since he was the chef, that he's the one that kind of showed you the ebbs and flows of being in the kitchen and so on and so forth.
Yes, he did.
So because here's the interesting thing to me. So obviously, unfortunately, he's no longer with us right now, so we can't really ask him like where did his passion come from. I mean, you could say that your grandfather taught you everything that you know, and then afterwards you grew into your own as you got older. But when did you know really that besides him showing you the ways around the kitchen, when did you really know that this is what you want to do with your life? Because the thing is, for me, like I bring people all the time, and I even alluded to even myself sometimes, where I told this story plenty of times where I saw two of my favorite action movies ever, and I saw the behind the scenes of them, and that's when I was like, you know what? That's what I want to do in my life. I want to direct. So with you, what was it that was that moment or that spark that made you really seriously think that, you know what? This is what I want to do in my life. I want to be in the kitchen. I want to be a chef.
What made me really like take this torch on is what I call it.
Okay, I love that.
Live the family legacy. Because there's other two chefs that are in my family, my uncle and my other grandfather.
Right.
From, how us Latinos do. We all
Absolutely.
call everybody uncles or grandfathers. So for that being said, it was 1996. I got a phone call from my mother saying that Grandpa passed away. So I was at work, and I had to fly out the next day. When we went to the funeral, and then we went to the burial after that, I just had a feeling where I was supposed to be.
Wow.
I don't know, he taught me everything. Let me be the first to go to school and be the first to carry his legacy.
Now, coming from where you came from in that particular environment, like you said, you're very fortunate to be in the Army base and stuff, but around your environment as a whole, were there moments of trepidation where you could have actually fallen to victim of, be a product of your environment, as they say?
Not being on Army base. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because it did happen with a couple of individuals on the base, but they went the wrong route, even though they had that guidance from their parents.
Right.
But me, I think my father always taught me to stay straight. And he always provided, and always showing love. And he had this motto where, when he came home from work, once I closed that door, you know what I'm saying, like, the job is behind me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on my family. There was times when he had his drills, and my mother, he'd be away for 2-3 weeks. But he made it his business to spend time with my mom. Even though he was tired, let's go.
Yeah, man, he was a man's man.
Yeah.
Is he still with us?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay, that's beautiful. Yeah,
he's he's really he is my father. He's not my stepfather.
Oh, okay. I didn't even realize that. Okay,
So,
it wasn't biologically.
No, he took me and my brother in like it was his own sons. And to this day, they've been married 48 years.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful. Round of applause real quick for that, man. I think that's a beautiful story right there.
And let me tell you, just to let you know, they retired in Florida, and they're living their best life. They're about to go to Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
And, was it El Salvador they're talking about? I don't know. They're always going somewhere.
Basically just traveling the world, living their best life. Exactly. Hey, you know what? All for it, because I unfortunately have not done a lot of traveling in my life, but I'm trying to change that. I'm almost 40. I feel like the world is so much bigger than just Florida and New Jersey,
Of course.
So I feel like I never seized on those opportunities, and now I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, and that's where I'm about to go. That's where I'm about to go with it. Especially for 2024, it's gonna be up and running.
Yeah, you should, man. Take advantage of all these. I'm gonna start doing it myself. Travel more, get out there more, and expose all these elements that we have.
Right. But you're already a bit of a traveler yourself, though, right? Like
I mean, I'm not a big traveler. I want to be one. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to all these India and all these other exotic places. But I had a previous job that didn't allow me to do all that stuff. But and like I said, I'm a former, so everybody knows, I'm a former correction officer for Rikers Island. I did 18 years, and that's it. But other than that, I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed the job that I had, giving back to the community as a, basically a correction officer and a cooking instructor. That was a great thing to give back,
You're just like a jack of all trades.
I try, man.
Yeah. You can't stay relegated to one thing.
No, not at all. But I enjoyed it. It was a good thing. Now I have to move on and live my dream to become the chef that I was supposed to be years ago.
Right. Now, going back to traveling for a little bit. So, is there any place that you've traveled on God's green earth where, when it comes to the subject of cooking, that has actually reignited your passion or has made you ascend to another level as far as cooking is concerned?
I mean, I've been to a couple of places, but I really want to get to the source of it. Like, good example. Mexico City, I would love to go there, but you need a tour guide for that.
Because, I would imagine, yeah.
Exactly. So like to see the spices, the herbs, the fruits, the vegetables. That's to me an experience of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, going to Bahamas, going over here, going in there, you're not getting the full effect. Me going to some other country where there's tons of food. Even Bangkok. You see how Bangkok is?
Right.
They got 24-hour food drive all over the place. Why not? Why not? That's an experience of its own.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's what elevates. Elevates the entire. And what's also kind of funny is that I read somewhere, and it may be true to you, maybe not, but they say that when food is made by a different person, it automatically tastes better. I don't know the science behind it, but it kind of has some weight to it, because I'll admit to you right now, when it comes to making food on my own, I am lazy as fuck. Like I don't want to spend time in the kitchen. Like I want instant gratification, unfortunately, and that's why I would save a lot more money if I had more discipline. But I noticed that it's kind of the same thing with me. Like whenever I make food for myself, I don't enjoy it nearly as much. I'm just glad that I'm having my my stomach full at that point. But I never had that oh my god moment where like this is fucking delicious.
Well, you know what? I got the perfect, a remedy to that.
Okay.
Let's just do some cooking classes. I'll teach you guys.
Hey, I'm always for it. Like, there's a couple of things that I want to do in this world besides podcasting and entertainment. Like, if I would like to, I'm not an athlete at this point, so baseball is like long gone for me. Yeah. But I would actually like to learn other trades. Like cooking is definitely one of them, and another one would be carpentry. But I'm always open to doing something of that ilk. And what's also interesting, I forget which billionaire said it, one of the big ones, but they said something along the lines that if I'm looking for somebody to run to help to train my to do what we do, I would rather train the person that has no experience, because more often than not, the person that has no experience is the most eager to learn.
Of course, he's like a sponge.
Yes.
I'd rather teach a sponge than a rock. Like honestly, like when you cook, is this feeling of appreciation, presentation, everything comes to line. And for me, I just love it. It's a feeling of like, to me, honestly, it's like mental health. It's a form of mental health, meaning that
it's your own therapy.
It's my own therapy, and it calms me. I love seeing little dishes like this and that. I go to Home Goods. Why? Because presentation is everything, and taste. Yeah. But when you present this the way it is, as you see, people are gonna, wow, that's great. Let me get a bite of that. I want to taste it. You got to present that first. People, it's like art. You're an artist.
Absolutely.
And you're painting a picture. And that's what you're doing.
Has there ever been moments where you try to get a little bit too creative, for lack of a better term, and it just turned into a disaster?
Yes,
because I feel like you got to learn. So you got to have your bumps in the roads. You got to have your trials and tribulations in order to get better at what you do.
Yeah, I mean, there's times when I do my presentations and I put it down, and then I'm like, I don't like it. I gotta change it. I'm very, excuse my language, anal about, especially like, see how I flying it out, stuff like that. I'm very anal about it. I can't. It's just because I wouldn't want to eat something you wouldn't.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I mean? That's
makes total sense.
Makes my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
But it be pretty too.
No, but that's a great point, because my previous guest, shout out to Starborn, she is a poet, and when she was on the show, she not only shared her poetry, but it was also her performance that sold it. Okay. So with that being said, when you're doing something like this, it's not just making sure that it tastes good and it's all everything. Presentation is everything. I mean, I know that empanadas are a delicious food, but having the way that you set it up right now with the limes and the peppers and the sauce and everything, it makes it even more appetizing.
Of course, because that's what people eat with their what? Their eyes.
They eat it with their eyes, yeah. And I don't know if this is on purpose, but I noticed you got the orange and the red and the yellow. And I read somewhere that scientifically, with those kind of colors are what fuels your appetite. That's why a lot of these restaurants always have red in their labels and so on and so forth.
Red or anything that's bright in color, and everything is always paired in 3.
Right.
Everything. Even when you go to Culinary School, they tell you that everything is paired in 3.
Right. Now, you actually went to culinary school as well, right?
I did.
Yeah. So I obviously have never been to culinary school. There was one time where maybe I thought that's what I wanted to do, but I just never pursued it. This is around the time where I was in the wilderness. I didn't know what to do with my life at this point. But what was first of all, what school did you go to, and what was your experience like? Because I know that for everybody it's different, especially when there's levels to where of academics, for lack of a better term, and so on and so forth. I mean, just describe your experience as far as you're concerned with culinary school.
Well, at the time, it's called the New York Restaurant School. It was on Barrack Street in Manhattan, which is called ICE now. I went there for 2.5 years. I studied excuse my language. I studied commercialized cooking at the time.
Okay.
And it wasn't considered a degree. It was considered clock hours. So if you had 900 clock hours, that's it. You graduated. It's good to go. It wasn't what it is today. They built that up today. You have to have a degree, a master's or an associate's just to be in the kitchen now. I was very fortunate. So after that, once I went to culinary school for 3.5 years, I specialized in New World cuisine. New World cuisine was a little dab of everything. Indian, Chinese, Mexican. So that's what brought that onto my table because of my what? My grandfather. My grandfather showed me this. So that's what I wanted to specialize in.
Right, right.
And then from there, I got a job and worked for Puffy. You know, it was
At Justin's restaurant.
At Justin's, it was like my younger years.
between the ages of 18 and 22.
It was actually no, it wasn't. It was 19 to 22.
19,
something like that.
All
No,
right.
I'm sorry. No, correct. 23 to 24, 25.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Now,
There you go.
So it was a great experience, you know, cooking for entertainers, cooking for different people. But after that, I branched off. I started like wondering, okay, well, let me dab into other cuisines, Mediterranean, you know, like how does that work? So what I did was, up the block from Justin, there was a place called Schaefer City.
Okay.
And a guy, good friend of mine named Mickey, he showed me the ropes. You know, I was willing to learn. He put me in different places, and that's how I learned to all these different food and sauces and soups. I mean, it goes on and on.
Right.
Because that's what you do. You know, there's positions as a chef that you might be a saucier. Saucier is a sauce. You come in at 5 in the morning to like 12 o'clock, and all you do is make sauces.
Right. Now, do you have your own establishments at all? Like, have you
Yes, I do private dinners.
Okay.
Currently, I'm actually gonna be doing them next month. What I do is I go to your home, and I provide everything from the dinnerware, from the drinks, from the food, everything.
Now, the only reason that I ask that is because despite popular belief, I'm not all there when it comes to a business sense. Maybe I'll eventually get there. But what I'm getting at with you is that obviously you have one thing that is your passion, and then you also have a part of it that you want to mesh it with that's business-wise.
That's right.
And sometimes the not so business savvy person can allow them to lose their passion in a sense, because when they mix the two, it kind of becomes something that you don't enjoy doing as much. Have you ever been in that predicament by any chance?
No.
Okay.
My thing is that my biggest pet peeve is I just want to provide a service to everybody, and you know, great food, great laugh, and great drinks. I don't think I'll ever get tired of it because I never did.
Right.
And when it's your passion, you don't get tired of it.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing to say, because unfortunately it's a fact of life, and I wish it wasn't, but it is a fact of life where we're living in a time now where there's so many people out there that are trying to figure out what they want to do with their life, and they're lost in the wilderness. So when somebody actually finds something that they're passionate about and they exceed at it, it's almost a wonder to see and to believe, because it's not the norm, unfortunately. I wish we lived in a time where there was more people that would be a lot more brave and bold to do it, but I also understand that there's other intricacies that get in the way. I know that there's insecurities that are involved, and you know, with mental health being such a prevalent conversation this day and age, it gets tougher for people, and that's why I consistently like to bring people on here to kind of like share their story and also share their advice to anybody out there that has something that they want to do with their passion in this world to make their mark in the world, but they have trials and tribulations, or they have discouragement or fear. And it's all about, for me personally, it's all about actions over words, because at the end of the day, words can be manipulated, they can be misconstrued, whatever the case may be, but actions are what they are.
That's correct.
And you just got to let that speak for itself more than words.
And I'm going to say this. If anybody wants to go into the culinary field, or any field that you decide and you have passion for, keep driving. Don't let nobody tell you can't do nothing.
Right.
Don't let nobody tell you. Because you know what? I'm the perfect example of where I want to go and where I want to be.
Right.
Just keep it moving.
Now, let me ask you this question. So this is actually... it's gonna get a little bit personal, get a little raw, but you know, just bear with me here. So I had a guest on the show a while back, and he also was a chef as well. And long story short, it just didn't work out. I realized that person was, you know, not the best person that I want to keep my name around. I don't want to associate with my brand or whatever. But one of the things that also popped in my head when I told myself I don't want to associate myself with this person is because there happens to be the stigma of chefs being hotheads, because you see like people like Gordon Ramsay and all these other people, you know, on TV, and you know they're throwing shit and putting up a facade, or even you have. I've actually worked in restaurants before, and I've actually seen executive chefs and sous chefs actually like throwing a fit, or like they're roided out or whatever. So why is it that there's such a strong stigma when it comes to chefs being these hot-headed, you know, very fiery people that can be a little bit too hot to handle at times, to coin a phrase?
Okay, from my experience, yes, I had a couple of them.
Okay.
All right. It's all about, I'm the chef. I go, you know, is what I say, what I do. Yes, in that time when I was chefing, perfect. They will just, choose my language, you know, they just didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted you to do what they wanted to do. But yeah, that persona of Gordon Ramsay, yes, but Gordon Ramsay wants the best for you. You might have the chef that wants the best for you, or you might have a chef that doesn't want the best for you. So you really got to really zoom in on it and say to yourself, okay, what is this going to benefit me? Okay, is he in favor for me, or I have to move on? Right.
Now, but the thing that I guess kind of like, you know, lingers in my head is it makes me wonder, is it something about the job or the passion that actually brings that out of every chef there is out there, where they have those moments? Or has it become a point now where, because it's been you know, displayed on television and in movies and such, that it's now kind of acceptable behavior to act that way in that field?
It is. I mean, when you see all these TV shows and it's that behavior, people think that's the norm. So, good example, I go to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, right?
Okay.
I'm going to expect, why he's not yelling? He's quiet. You know what I mean? Think about it. Because that's what they see on TV. Right. So everything on TV is a big facade. You know, but when you really look at it, you got to say to yourself, well, I'm the chef. He's a chef. There got to be a mutual respect. Even if I don't like him, or even if I get along with him, I still got to respect him. It's just what it is. It's like me, like if I would meet Gordon or any other chefs, I give them the utmost respect. When I do my dinners and my pop-ups, I usually do it in a friend of mine's restaurant called Canton Bodegas. Shout out to Canton Bodegas. So I even asked the chef at that time, I'm only here for a day. I just want your respect. Let's push this food out. He was like, thank you. I appreciate you respecting me. You see what I'm saying? It's a mutual respect. You have to. You can't go in there and be like, well, I'm going to take over this restaurant. It doesn't work like that. So when it comes to chefs, yeah, there's a lot of respect and a lot of egos with it.
That was going to be my next point there, because I feel like when they reach to a certain level, it seems like, you know, the egomaniacs just come out, and it can cause a really bad hostile working environment.
Exactly, and it does. I've been there. You know, people, I don't want to work here. People quit left and right. Why? Because the way they be treated. Me, when I'm the chef in the kitchen, I treat everybody with respect. I might get a little hasty if the food is not pushed out properly because it's getting cold. But other than that, I'm smooth sailing, man.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, like I mentioned, I worked in restaurants before, and sometimes the kitchen could be the most intense room you could ever be in. Everybody's yelling over each other. There's flames going on. There's a lot of hazards. You got to worry about you know, health codes, and you know, making sure that there's no injuries, and everything has to be out in a timely manner. It's like it's almost, sometimes I wonder, like, I don't know what's more stressful, being in a kitchen or defusing a bomb. It's basically that kind of nerve.
And let me tell you something, because you just, you know, touched on something. When I worked with Justin's, I remember there was a time when we had a big meeting, right? It was a Friday.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we go in, we getting slammed in the kitchen. And guess what happens? The exhaust goes off.
Oh, shit.
And we all sweating.
Oh, my God.
This the whole time. And we piping out the food. And it was crazy. I would never forget that. I don't think anybody in their right mind was staying there. We all stood in there for 16 hours. And we were getting slammed. I mean, fried chicken, all kind of orders. It was crazy. Like, the board, you know, the expediter was going crazy.
Yes.
He was like, she couldn't even keep up with the tickets. And when we got slammed. And that was the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, me personally, I don't know if I could ever work in the hospitality industry again. The only reason I got into it in the first place was because my friend at the time, well, he's still my good friend. We're still friends to this day. At the time, me being young, dumb, and full of cum, he told me like, yo, if you come, you could work at my place. You know, you can make a lot of money, and you can meet women there too. So that was enough to sell me. But ultimately, it made like, I was in the restaurant business for like nearly 10 years.
Wow.
And I've done everything. I was a busboy. I started off as a busboy, and then I did waiter. I was a bartender at one point. I did banquets. So I did a couple of things other than just being in the kitchen. I think the only experience I have in the kitchen is working in the, making the fryer, working the fryer at a movie theater. That's the only thing that I had. And oh my God, I would come home all the time. My mom would get mad at me because I smelled like fried chicken and everything. Oh my God, it was the worst.
No, it is the worst, because when you, as a chef, man, I mean, I don't know how many times I changed my chef jacket. And there was a thing back then. We had, as you see, the chef jacket goes up, right? It has the buttons. So if this side was dirty, we used to take the buttons off, put it on the side. It was crazy, all the techniques we used to do back then.
Right. So when it comes to a person in your position, when you're in the kitchen, let me paint a scenario for you.
Okay.
And you're getting slammed in the kitchen, like you mentioned before, when the exhaust went out and everything, and you were just sweating bullets and everything.
Yeah.
When things are going haywire in a kitchen, and you're losing your shit, essentially, is it because it's too much pressure for you to handle, or because you really give a goddamn about what is going out the kitchen?
I really give a damn what's going on in the kitchen, because that'll make or break you. You got to remember, you have to stay calm at all times.
Yes.
You have to have a good crew, because that's important. They make you. It is just what it is. When I worked in a couple of restaurants, I had a great staff. They're going to be like, they'll read the tickets for you at the same time you're trying to push the orders out. You need that. You have to come together as a team. If you don't, then you're gonna swallow. It's just gonna fold.
Yeah.
Isn't it is?
Isn't it also kind of ironic how you were born and raised in a you were an army brat essentially in a military base, and being in the kitchen almost feels like boot camp at times?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, mom and dad, and see, the thing with mom and dad is like, they had the relationship of, whoever came home first. My dad cooked.
Yeah.
And then my mother cooked. So it was like, and just to mention, I forgot to mention too, like my mother was a big asset to my career as well.
Right.
She worked for Conason in Manhattan.
Oh, that's a big deal, yeah.
For 20 years. And it was like a melting pot, meaning that she had different people that would come to her job that worked with her that had different cuisines, and she would bring it home.
Wow.
So she would come home one day, it's chicken. Oh, I'm going to Chinese. Let's eat this. We're going to Chinatown. We're going here. Look, this lady gave me a book. I'm gonna do the recipes on the book. Like, it was like she brought that home. She brought that diversity to the house. And it kind of opened up me and my brother. It made us more receptive to certain things. Like, good example, like, if I go to an Indian restaurant, I'm not gonna like it, right? But if I don't know about it, I'm like, okay, well, at the same time, if I know about it, it's a conversation to talk about.
Right.
Because honestly, where would you rather go? There's Popeyes here, there's an Indian restaurant there, and there's McDonald's. I'd rather go to the Indian restaurant. Why?
Same here.
Because that's mom and pops. You gotta support the mom and pops.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, then there's a problem. But now you supporting the chain restaurants, you're not getting nothing out of it.
Right, and this is kind of funny, but it kind of goes along with you saying, like, we're in New Jersey right now. New York and New Jersey are known for having some of the best pizzas in the world, or you can find it in America.
Of course.
And then when people actually order pizzas from like these big chain restaurants, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You have plenty of mom and pop places around you that are probably going to give you better quality, and it's supporting small businesses. But that's just something that I personally never understood.
If anybody follows my page, the Billy Jack Experience, you're going to see I support local businesses. Yeah. I do it all the time.
That sounds like a podcast, by the way, the Billy Jack Experience.
Oh, thank you. That's like on my off days when I don't want to cook, I look up, okay, this person such and such, and I go visit them. Sometimes I'll text them and let them know I'm coming. Sometimes they text me, hey, we know about you, come and taste our food. Yeah. Because everybody upstate New York currently right now with Hudson Valley and Hudson Valley Eats and all these different Orange County areas, they all follow me. Why? Because I go to these places like Hudson Taco. I go to, I don't know, a couple of, my good friend of mine, his name is Greg. Yeah. Roma on the Rail. He does a lot of authentic Mexican cuisine, American cuisine, and I always go there. I met him in a food truck. He has his own food truck, and I met him, and we clicked real well. Now he has a brick and mortar that I visit a lot.
Nice.
You know, so, you know, you never know what could happen in the future with me and him, you know? But other than that, I mean, I always shout out to mom and pop businesses, man. They're the heart and soul of food.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how we started.
Bro, the empanadas that we got a chance to luckily try earlier before the show started is something better than I can get at like a number 3 at McDonald's or something like that.
What is it, number 5? Or
No.
-5?
No, minus here. This is a 10. This is a full 10 right here. This is a 10 out of 10 right here.
Oh my
Trust me
God.
with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, even Steve agrees with me on that.
Hey, Steve. No, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, it's all about giving back, and it's all about, you know, the food.
Right. And you know what? That's one of the cool things about, you know, chefs as a personality as opposed to just a person that manufactures your food and everything, because before we started the show, we got a chance to try some of this delicious food, but you also had to present it. So basically, what you told me was you know, take a bite and then put the sauce inside, and then take another bite with the lime in it, and just the explosion of flavor. That's like a magician being at work with his trick, you know, as opposed to just, you know,
just giving you the food. Hey,
exactly.
It's for you, Bobby. Just eat it. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll take care of itself.
It'll take care of itself.
Yeah. But you know, another thing that I wanted to touch on, and I know that this is pretty something that you're passionate about as well, and you know, we're in the holiday season right now, as you can tell from our festivities right now that we're wearing.
Of course.
Yeah, and I've actually spoke about this before on my show, but I feel like it's a topic that I like to keep on bringing up because it's something that should never be forgotten and always has to keep. The conversation always has to keep being brought up in order for, you know, relevance to stay there and order and, you know, the whole nine.
Of course.
So obviously it's the holiday season right now, and you know, there's a lot of festivities and a lot of joy and jolly and so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is that there's still a lot of people out there that are dealing with not just depression, but they're dealing with seasonal depression. And the holidays tend to expand on that. And I also know that in a little bit of the research that you actually are certified in the mental health, you know, avenue.
Yeah. I mean, my former job, yes, we were always trained in mental health. That was the biggest thing on the island. We had to address those issues, you know, be there for them when they're, you know, especially the holiday season.
Right.
You know, that's one thing, being on that, being in my former job, they really stressed that a lot. They were like, listen, it's the holiday season, could be possible fights, possible, you know, suicides.
Yeah.
We had to be on the lookout. And that's something they took very serious. And you can see, too, some of their body language and the way they function, you can see it. And if there's something wrong, you definitely have to address it. And I always did. You know, because I don't know the severity of what he's thinking or what she's thinking. I don't know. I can't say that because I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But what I am is a person that I can help you.
You're empathetic.
Hey, there you go. Thank you. Empathetic. And I'm like, you know what? Come on, I'm going to take you where you got to go.
Now, where does that empathy come from? Because I'll tell you, one of the biggest reasons I'm a mental health advocate is because I've dealt with my own bouts of depression. I'm medicated currently as we speak. And I've also had talked about it on the show previously where I had a suicidal episode that luckily didn't happen, but it still happened nonetheless. So, but I feel like because I was able to rise up above it and also notice things in a brighter light and being able to wanting to share that to people, that what I see now, they're not able to, because I was in the dark myself.
Of course.
And so that's my experience of why I'm such an advocate for it. What about you personally that makes you such an advocate for mental health?
Because mental health for me is very important. Because let me go back into 1980.
Sure, yeah.
1980, our mental health was what? Going outside, playing stickball.
Yeah.
You know, going by, you know, they opened the pipe, so, you know, the fire hydrant when the water starts splashing.
You're taking me back right now.
Yeah, we used to run into abandoned buildings and just be kids. You know, that was our form of mental health, and that kept us together. But now these kids don't do that. They do the total opposite. You know? So for me to say mental health is everywhere, yes, it is. But it's different times. So 1980 for me, 1990 was a different kind of mental health. You know, nobody was really medicated at that time. Everybody had an outlet.
Right.
And that's one thing I'm going to tell everybody. Find an outlet. You like painting? You like cooking? Find something.
I love podcasting.
Podcasting, there you go. I mean, you have to find something that engages who you are.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with different company. Like, to me, if I have a company that loves art, loves to go to museums, and loves to cook, I'd rather be around that company because that's a supportive company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, we only have a couple of weeks left for 2023, and one thing that I could say about this year is that it was a real big eye-opener. And, you know, it's really unfortunate when you start to see people's true colors. I think that was the theme for 2023 for me personally, where I was able to see people's true colors. And in the moment, it sucks. It's the worst because you don't know how to handle it, and you didn't expect it to happen. You know, you think everything was going to be, you know, rainbows and unicorns going forward and everything, but everything is hindsight 2020. It makes me realize that, you know what, maybe it's best that it happened so early on as opposed to it letting going down the line, and it would have been compounded even worse.
That's correct.
And it's just funny that unfortunately, as dark as it sounds, that happened to be the theme of 2023 for me. And there was even a you know, a point earlier in the year where it was actually detrimental to my mental health. Wow. But this is why I'm so grateful that I found something that I love, whether it's this or even acting or directing or whatever the case may be, because it's made me feel like it has purpose. And most importantly, I can give a fuck less about money. Exactly. Like, listen, I'll put this out there in the universe. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to keep it real with me, with you, with the audience and everything. I've been doing this podcast now for 2 years. I have not received any monetary rewards for it. I haven't seen a single dime from it, whatever. But you know what? That has not stopped me from coming into the studio and continue to do this thing, because it's the only place I feel anymore now that has some kind of semblance of therapy and actually makes me feel like I'm doing something that I didn't have, that I didn't know I had in myself. Like just to give you another example is, before I was in podcasting, I was one of the worst people that had to deal with social anxiety. I was a mess socially and anxious. And it was to the point where even people had judged me, like, well, yo, why is this guy acting all weird and everything? Like, but no, they don't understand what goes on. Thank God I found something like this that has actually allowed me, because now, me telling you this, you're probably thinking, you would have never thought that because of how open and on you are and how comfortable you are. It is. But you know what, man? It was not an easy ride, but I didn't give up. And thank God that this is something that just came into my life, and I've been able to, it's still there. I still get my social anxiety from there, but I think I've been able to manage it because I found something that I love doing.
And that's the importance. And let me tell you something, and I'm going to say this from me to you. Thanks for having me today.
Of course.
We're going to continue to do work in the future.
Absolutely.
Love to.
Absolutely.
And another thing, fuel your passion. Don't let nobody tell you can't do it. Let me tell you, there's times when I was young, and I'm going to leave this with you.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, because I used to work, you know, as a receptionist too, as you know, as a young, another job that I was doing when I was young, and a friend of mine, her husband was a chef for Morton Steakhouse, there next to the World Trade Center. World Trade Center. So he got me a little, let me get a little hands wet, because before I started school, he wanted to be like, look, I'm gonna show you what's the kitchen look like. So they dropped me, first they started me out as a line cook. They dropped me down, they kept dropping me down, prep cook, and then dishwasher. Then I told him, look, I'm about to start school, the managers from Morton Steakhouse. I'm going to start school. Can you accommodate me? Maybe I can come in the day, work night, whatever it is. Yeah. You know what they told me? Oh, we just going to let you go. Maybe you could find something else along the line. And I said this, and I've never said this. I said, let me tell you, I don't know you, but I'm going to be a chef. And I don't care what it takes, but I'm going to be a chef. And look at me now.
Look at him now, motherfuckers.
Because you know why? Don't let nobody tell you nothing that you can't do. You got to go out there and never give up. That no is what? It pushes you. It pushes you and pushes you. If that passion is there, it's going to keep pushing you.
And ironically, the word no is pretty much the only bad thing that can happen to you. That's the worst that can happen.
If they tell you no, I keep moving.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it just inspires me to do more.
Turn that no into a yeah.
That's right. There we go.
I love that.
We meant to start. Yeah, to the star.
Yeah, you a star yourself, my brother.
Thank you.
Oh man, but as far as like, besides your passion, I mean, obviously you love cooking, you care about mental health and everything. Like whenever it's your downtime, whenever you just don't feel like being in the kitchen, or whatever. What does a day in the life for Billy Jack look for you when you just want to just enjoy life and you know?
Honestly, I sit on the couch and watch Netflix.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I watch a lot of documentaries.
Feature presentation.
No, I watch a lot of documentaries. I like informative information. I don't like that reality TV that is just persona. It's just I just don't
call
like
it trash TV.
Yeah, trash TV. I like I said, anything that has to do with history.
You murdered my mind, Steve.
Anything that has to do with history. Anything that has to do with music. You know, good example. I just watched the David Beckham.
Oh, okay.
Series.
I didn't see it, but I haven't seen it, but I know
There's things I didn't even know about David Beckham. And look at him now. He never went to school, this guy, you know? So, you know, it's just, you know, when you see stuff like that, you know, you say to yourself, damn, you know, if you have a talent and you have a passion for it, look what it gets you.
Absolutely.
And when I saw David Beckham, I was like, wow, this dude got a talent, unbelievable talent. And look what it got him. And the support of his wife.
Yeah, he got a real one by his side.
Yeah, he's a very talented individual. Like I said, man, his passion is crazy. You know, to have his passion and what he's done, that's incredible. So that's what I'm saying. Like, watch these documentaries, and you will see the passion that these people have, and they rose up to the challenge. You know, so you know, yeah.
Man, I love that, man. I haven't checked out the documentary yet. You know what? I just don't have the time to watch movies or documentaries like I used to.
You gotta find the time.
I gotta find the time, you know. I gotta find the time, but you know what? The way that my brain works, especially as of late, whenever I'm on the go, I just don't want to stop, you know. But at the same time, I know that eventually I have to, because I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to wear myself too thin. Has those moments ever happened to you, especially behind the kitchen?
Yeah, there's times I burned out. Definitely times.
And how do you get out of that?
Sleep. You know, just well rested, because you know, you come home, you're doing 200, 300 covers, and it's like you come home and you're like so wired up. You know, I used to come home late, and I'd be so wired up and just watch TV till 2, 3, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I sleep through the midday. You know, and then I get up again. So that's how I deal with it.
Oh, so you're a pretty low key guy.
Yeah, I mean, I try. You know, very low key. I don't go to all these flaming parties and
you don't drink.
Yeah, I mean, socially once. You know, like good example, New Year's. That's it.
Yeah, that's you know, just about the extent of it.
Exactly. That's where the farthest it goes. I don't do all that. Because, you know, drinking to me is just another way of dealing with other problems. And my addiction is cooking. So everybody got their own addiction, and I think it's that.
Well, I think yours is a healthy addiction, at least. Well,
yes,
depending how you look at it, because you could overindulge. I know I would overindulge.
No, me, I just try to find an outlet, man. You have to, like right now, since I've been home for quite some time, really thinking about my business. I definitely want to go into bartending. Why not?
Yeah.
It goes with food. But you know, I won't drink the product. I'll just make the product.
Right.
But you know, to put it all together with my little package of dinners.
Now, we also live in a time now where it's all about technology. So one of the greatest promotional tools out there is social media.
Yes.
And you've been able to use the social media to really get the brand of the Billy Jack experience out there.
Yeah.
So the question that I ask you, though, is because, like, ever since I started podcasting, I've kind of had to learn how to be more prevalent with social media and promotions and so on and so forth. Because my favorite part of doing this is just what you and me are doing right now.
Exactly.
The part that I kind of enjoy, but it's not exactly my favorite, is when I actually have to cut up and do edits and so on and so forth, so I could let people know that, hey, a brand new episode is coming out, but I got to make it look good and everything. I got to be, you know, make sure the presentation is nice and everything.
Of course.
But it takes a lot out of me, and sometimes I just don't have the time or even just the wherewithal to want to do it. But this part right now, what we're doing right now, is my favorite part of doing what I'm doing as far as podcasting is concerned.
Okay.
So, but as far as like, you know, getting your name out there with the promos and social media and everything, and I see that you've been going hard. How much of it can you get lost into it to make sure that? No, let me rephrase. How much? What do you do to make sure that you don't get lost in the pitfalls of social media, as opposed to just remembering what you're on this planet to do?
Okay, what I've done in the beginning, I was posting almost every day. But I've learned this algorithm is funny. You know, you post one thing one day, you get 20 likes. To me, it's not about the followers, it's not about the likes. It's me producing a product that people can see and respect it.
Right.
At the end of the day, if we didn't have social media, I'd go old school. I'm good with old school, word of mouth. You know, but but what I do now is I don't post every day. I post every 6 days. You got to give the client enough time to see your full page before you put on the next page.
It could also be overindulgence.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
Like, I know a lot of people, and this is a real thing. I've actually seen people, whether they're chefs, whether they're podcasters, whether they're business persons, whatever the case may be, and then they use social media to get their platform out there. But I've seen it so many times where there's so many people that they fall into the pitfalls of social media that they completely forgot about what they got it for in the first place.
Exactly. They forget about their product. They forget about the passion they had.
Right.
Me, no. Why? Because I feel like I've learned this, and it's funny because you mentioned that I had a couple of mentors that text me through social media, and one of them is Cosito Grimes. He's a big time Puerto Rican social media chef, and he said it. He said, "I love your content. I love your stuff." And this is somebody that got 3,000 followers, or 300,000 followers, telling me this. He said, your presentation's off the hook, he said. I love everything about you. But I was just like you, right? I was doing pictures and videos. That's it. He said, I was hoping that other Puerto Rican social media pages will pick me up. Like Venture Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican Graham, Team Puerto Rico, whatever. These are big people now. And he actually got picked up by them, and he said he went from 5,000 followers to 15,000 in one night, because he posted that one video. He said, so he's trying to give me that mentorship.
Right.
He said, just be patient, it's gonna come. I say, he goes, even the algorithm, he said, it's too much sometimes for me. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Because you put it there, and then I heard that, Instagram has a new thing now. They categorize you.
Yeah.
It's not like before when you used to post, you get all these followers. No, it's they categorize you on a certain thing, on the food, on the drink, or cocktail, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So now you're not going to get that feed that you're looking for.
Yeah, no, and it's just really sad sometimes that, when you do something, like, let's say you put out like an amazing dish that you put your heart and soul into, and then afterwards you post it, and the sense that I get from you is that, you can give a shit less if it got like 10 likes or 2,000 likes. But there are people out there that they'll do something like that, they'll be in your shoes, and they'll get discouraged thinking like, well, damn, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing anymore, because I only got like 7 likes.
Like, a good example, I follow these 2 social media dudes, the YouTubers on YouTube. I think it's called JoJo's World and Kyle Pyle.
Okay.
You got to see it. If they don't get a certain amount of views, they start with the mental health. They talk about all this stuff.
Yeah.
So they about to just like, I don't want to do it no more. That's the same thing you were saying.
Right.
I don't think it's for me, but they doing that for views. So they want that pity. No, I don't care. Like I say, that 10 views that I might get or 10 likes, out of that 10, that'd be that one person that makes me successful.
There you go. And seeing that, instead of worrying about the number of likes,
exactly.
Just take comfort in knowing that somebody that may like it or may not, it'll change their whole outlook on their day.
Just move on. Yeah, it changes. There was an episode, I think something on Netflix I saw. It was an episode. I forgot the name. Oh, Black Mirror.
Oh, I love Black Mirror.
And the lady, she was worrying about all her likes. Remember?
Yes. Oh my God,
So
that was one
one?
of my favorite episodes.
She
yes.
was like, it wasn't like, but it was like every time she did something, they just
Yeah, if she said like please and thank you, then she would get like a high rating, and that would
5 or something like that. I'm like, yo.
and that would add up like credits or something.
Yeah,
you know? Oh
yeah,
my God, that was one of my favorite.
That was one of my favorites.
That was one of my favorite episodes because it's like it was an allegory of where we're heading with.
Yeah, exactly. Right now.
You know, forget about where we're heading. We're kind of there already. You know, it's like people have to put it like.
You've definitely been there.
Yeah, like oh my God, there's people that feel like they're really validated in life because they got like 300 likes on a post.
You'd be like, okay, well, why is she so fixated on that? We all are fixated on that. We like the likes. If we don't like likes or followers, we get upset. There's people get upset. I don't get upset.
Me neither.
Because I'm saying I'd rather go back to the old school with hearsay.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason,
He
you know
said,
Billy
yep.
Jack? Yeah, he does some dinners. We got you. This, you like constantly. You know?
Absolutely. So, what can you tell me that's next for the Billy Jack experience?
Well, the next for the Billy Jack experience, we're going to work on some new projects. Upcoming pop-up kitchens, meaning I'll be in selective areas doing pop-ups. And then forward my dinners as well. So we're looking for something brand new for 2024. You know, the Billy Jack experience is ready and willing and needs to provide that service for this food.
Well, listen, I've actually shared your platform and everything that you've been doing with a couple of people, even before we started doing this podcast. And they're looking forward to this episode. I bet they're enjoying this right now. Cool. And I think they're going to follow you because I see the passion in you, and they also see it as well. And I think that not just from a passionate cooking standpoint, but I just think that from your whole aura and your whole energy, we need more people like you in this world. And I feel very fortunate to have you in studio here on my platform as well.
Thank you, man. You know, thank you for having me. I mean, I'm not, and mind you, I'm so comfortable. Usually, I'm not so comfortable. Well, that made me feel comfortable.
Well, that makes me feel good because it makes me feel like I'm doing my job.
No, you are, and it's like to me, what makes me feel comfortable is a TV in front of me so I can see what I'm doing. But other than that, this makes so much. Makes me so happy that I'm finally, getting to the point where I want people to see what I'm about and what I'm gonna present. I'm a loving guy. Shout out to my friends and family. I love you guys. And I just thank them too, for always supporting me as well. But at the end of the day, it's just you're gonna see Billy Jack is back. That's what I'm saying.
Billy Jack is back like he never left, baby.
So now what we gotta do is try this damn empanada.
Oh, let's do it.
We got what? A couple minutes to go.
We got a little time. We got some time there. Okay. So, but. Yeah. Okay. All right.
No, 5 minutes.
So let me. We're about to close this episode in a little bit. We get to enjoy this delicious food in front of us in a minute. But you mentioned earlier about documentaries. Are you also a movie guy?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
I love everything.
Oh, okay. Great. Perfect. So this is gonna fall in line with the last question that I ask everybody that comes on to the show. If you've seen the show, you know what's coming up. Don't be nervous. This ain't the SATs, bro. Okay. All right. So. You, Billy Jack, with your energy, your aura, your presence that you've been able to grace us with today, and if somebody was to so boldly make a movie out of the life of Billy Jack, which actor would you like to see portray your character and why?
Hugh Jackman.
Oh, Hugh Jackman, nice. Wolverine, baby. That's right, baby. You already got the beard and everything. This is episode 116, and that's probably the first time anybody has ever mentioned that name.
Yeah, I love Wolverine, bro. That's my boy.
Yeah.
Yes, I did grow up reading comics, and one of my favorite comics was Logan.
Oh,
old man Logan.
Yeah, and the movie was fire too.
Oh yeah,
I love the movie.
First rated R.
Yes, yeah.
First rated R.
But you know what? It was
very
perfect.
Good.
It was.
I liked it for what it was.
Yes, absolutely. Are. Well, Billy Jack, thank you so much for coming through, my man. Appreciate it.
We'll definitely do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you so much to my guest, Billy Jack, for coming through.
Thank you.
Anybody else you want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Oh, that's about it.
All right.
I think I said everything in sentences, I would say.
Right. And where can they find you on social media again, real quick?
You can find me on the Billy Jack Experience at on Instagram and Facebook as well, and TikTok.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at JasonEnrique _ on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, all the social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube at Jason Enrique. And now we get to enjoy this delicious meal right here that we have in front of us. Happy holidays, everybody. May you have a safe and great holiday.
Brother.
And we will see you next time. This has been the First Class, Second Place podcast. We out.
We out. See you later.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Here you go.
Fire.
Bring it apart.
Fire.
There we go. Christmas empanadas.